Alright, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to mod Among Us for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this tutorial assumes that you already know how to mod your Switch or hack your Switch using the Atmosphere custom firmware, and that you're familiar with this program, Tegra RCM GUI. If you're not familiar with that, then you're going to need another tutorial to figure that out uh, because this process is a lot more complicated. So, the first thing that you're going to need to do is download that and that. You're going to need UABE, the latest version of UABE, this thing called NXdumptool, and this thing called Lockpick RCM.bin. Uh, so, uh, this is the release for Lockpick, and the download for it is right there. This is the for NXdumptool right here. This first one. Unity Asset Bundle Extractor, you're probably going to get the 64-bit version since most people would be running 64-bit Windows, but if you have 32-bit, I guess you get the 32-bit version. And AssetStudio right here at app there. I'm going to leave a link to that and all of those in the description. So the first thing we got to do is set up our SD card to allow for Among Us mods. So open up File Explorer, go to Removable Disk, and the only thing we need to put in our SD card, preferably in the root or in the switch folder if you want, but I'm going to put it in the root, is NXdumptool. We are going to drag that and put that in the root of our SD card. So it's in there. That's all we need. Now, and the reason that we're doing this, for the record, is because we need to dump the Among Us game files to our SD card, because it's not like the Steam version of Among Us where you can just go into the files and you have instant access to them just by going to the common Steam apps. For your Among Us game on Steam, you actually need to rip them for the Switch version. The layout is almost identical once you've done that, but you actually have to dump the game. And we also need this thing, Lockpick RCM.bin. Now you also need the Fusey primary.bin that you normally use for your Tegra RCM GUI, but you need this Lockpick RCM because you need the product keys. Otherwise, you're going to get an error when you're using NXdumptool. So first thing we got to do is Tegra RCM GUI, and we're going to open that, and I have it right here, but you're going to take your Lockpick RCM.bin, and you're going to open that and set that for your Tegra RCM GUI. Now, you are going to inject the payload into your system like you normally would, except with Lockpick RCM selected instead of Fusey. And you're gonna, oh, I should probably, you have to put your SD card in, of course, or else the payload won't go in. So, got my SD card in my system. And, all right, now I'm ready to inject the payload. So, let me just do that real quick. Inject payload. Now, on your Switch, you are going to get a screen like this, and it's going to be in vertical mode like this. So, what you need to do is you use the volume buttons up and down to control everything, the menu, and you use the power button to select. So what I need to do is hover over dump from sysnand. This is what you need to do, and then you need to just press power. And your screen will go black. It'll attempt to boot into your custom firmware, but you'll get this screen. Everything should say done in amount of time. And then you press any button to return to the menu, and then you go to power off, like that. So once you've done that, you are going to take your SD card out of your switch and put it back into your computer. And now, inside of your Atmosphere folder, you should go to your Contents folder, and at the very top, this game right here. Oh, no, I'm stupid. I was getting ahead of myself. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to go to the root of your SD card, and in Switch, you should have these two files, product keys and title keys. And that's what Lockpick RCM did. Sorry for blanking there. But that's what Lockpick RCM did. So now that we have that, we are ready to use NXdumptool. So we take our SD card back out of our computer and put it back in our switch. Now that we have everything set up for it. Oh crap. When you're booting into your RCM, make sure not to have a lockpick RCM.bin selected. Make sure to reselect your normal fusee primary.bin. Now I can inject the payload. There we go. All right. So now that you're back on your switch, you're going to go to your home menu and you are going to hover over any app, preferably YouTube, because it's the best app to use for stuff like this. And you're going to hover over it and press the R button on your Joy-Con. Hold it down, and select YouTube. And you should load into the HB menu in full capacity mode or whatever it's called. So you are going to go to the root of your SD card and find NXdumptool. And you're going to press A. Now that you have the title keys, you're not going to get an error down here saying that you don't have title keys and it won't be able to dump stuff. You will be able to dump the content. So you're going to select Dump Installed SD Card Content. And you're going to find the game right at the top, Among Us. And you are going to go to ROM FS options. Now, you're going to go down to where it says split files bigger than 4 GB. This doesn't matter because Among Us is less than a gigabyte, so this will never come into play. It does not matter what you select for this. Save data to you're going to want to select yes on this. Select save data to custom firmware directory layered FS. You're going to want that yes. And use update DLC. If you want, I know people are obsessed over the airship being leaked right now, so if you wanted to extract the airship files, you're probably going to want to put no on that, but for the sake of the video, I am going to get the latest version. And once you're done with that, you're going to go back up to the top and select ROMFS section data dump. And now it's dumping the game. It's a small game, so it shouldn't take very long. All right, press any button to continue. There we go. And just back out of this and just press the home button and close out of YouTube. We now have the game dumped and we're ready to go back to our PC. So you take the SD card out of your Switch again and put it back into your PC. You're going to get used to this by now. So this is what I was saying before. We're going to go to Atmosphere, Contents, and the very top one right here. I'll paste the ID on the screen. You can see it right here. This is the one that you're going to need to select because this is the Among Us title ID. And now it should look familiar because this is exactly how the file system is set up on the PC, more or less. So you are probably more familiar with this than anything else. So what you're going to want to do is the preferable thing to do is to create a folder called old build. And what you're going to want to do with that is anything down from global game managers, you're going to want to highlight, Control C, and then Control V inside of the old build folder. The reason you're going to want to do that is so that you have a safe backup and that you don't have to dump the entire game again if you screw something up with one of your mods. And this just saves time to have an old build file. Usually doesn't take this long. I don't know why it's taking so long. Come on, speed it up. Damn, okay. All right, so we got our old build folder, and because of the way UABE works, UABE, this program here, remember that? Because of the way that that program works for modding these asset files, you can't save over the current file. So you're going to need another folder called new build. And that's where you're going to store the new version and then drag it into the folder. So got your new build and old build folders right here. And now this is the exact same process on PC. Yeah, so we're just going to keep Tegra open. So we're going to open UABE. Now, actually, first of all, UABE is called the Unity Asset Bundle Extractor. And that's because it's meant to be used as an extraction tool that also has re-injection modding capabilities. However, in my opinion, AssetStudio is a far better program for extracting files from Unity games because it actually gives you previews. So if I open up a file here, load file, and go to this is a chore always. Say I open up shared assets 1, and I can actually see all the assets here like this. Yeah, in UABE you can't do this, and to extract them you just go to export selected assets and then store them wherever you want. And yeah, that's how you get the assets from AssetStudio. For UABE, you're going to need UABE to actually install the mods that you make. So let's open up Asset Bundle Extractor. And my first example, I'm going to do it from a raw file. So from like a PNG replacement. And then I'm going to explain EMIPs afterwards. So you're going to go to File and Open. Now, once you're here, you're going to select the shared assets folder with the asset that you want, and you're going to select the newest version from the options it gives you here. So these are all the names of all the objects that we just saw in AssetStudio, except we can't actually see them now. But using AssetStudio, we can figure out what they are. And to replace one of them, I'm just going to use hats as my example. We're going to go to, we have it selected there, plugins, edit. Most of these settings you can just keep the same. And you're going to go to where you extracted the assets from and get your custom asset. So I'm going to use this file as an example. There's going to be a little delay here. Just don't touch anything. Wait for it to go. All right, it went. Now, in this instance, you have the mod installed to this instance that you're creating. So you're going to go to Save, and you're going to go to your new build folder right here, and you are going to save over this. The reason you have to save it in your new build folder is because, as I said before, you can't actually save over this file. It'll give you an error if you try to do that. So what we need to do instead is save it to the new build folder, and we can just press OK. We don't need this anymore, and go back to our new build folder. Yeah, okay. Go back to our new build folder and just drag it up like this and replace the file in the destination. And now our new build folder is empty and we have this file is now replaced with the one we just replaced it with. So if I go to my switch now, I'll probably just have footage up here of the mod in action because when you do that, you automatically have the mod installed. You don't have to do anything as long as you boot into custom firmware and you select Among Us now. The game is going to load from the modded files. In fact, since we dumped the entire game and that's in the directory, it's going to load from all of our files there. It's not even going to load from its own files. So now the mod is installed. Now, most of the mods that most people, are going to be installing are going to be in EMIP files from Game Banana or whatever site you downloaded from. Now, just a warning, most EMIP files that you will find on Game Banana or other modding sites are made specifically for the current Steam version as of 12/17/2020. The problem with installing those on the Switch version is that you can't because the path IDs, which is basically, let me open it as an example. The path IDs, which are these markers, these markers right here, these numbers, they do not match between the different builds, the PC and the Nintendo Switch build. I think they do match between the mobile versions and the PC version, but they do not match to the Switch version. So EMIPs that you get from Game Banana are not guaranteed to work. In fact, they probably will not work on the Switch version as of now. That may change when the new build actually comes to PC because the Switch version has a lot of exclusive stuff right now because the update for it hasn't come out on PC yet. But as of now, the path IDs and the EMIP files that you're going to try to install aren't going to work. But that said, if you get an EMIP file that does work on the Switch version, this is how you're going to install it. It's just like the PC version. So you're going to go to this thing right here that says load package file. And we're going to go to, we're going to go to this. I have this EMIP right here, which is the same thing that I just installed. And we're going to select everything in this dropdown here. Now, right here where it says select the base folder of the files, we're going to go to select. And what we're going to want to select is our file path for our Among Us data. So this folder, data, that's the one that we're going to want to select. So select folder. And there it should, yeah, everything's right now. So that was perfect. So now we have our base folder selected and we can press OK. Now we're going to select the latest version from this dropdown again. And from here, it's just the same. We're going to press, everything's installed right here. We're going to press save. We're going to put it in our new build. And we're done with that. And to install that from there, you just go to your new build folder, drag it over to your data folder, replace file in the destination. And yeah, we just replaced it again. We installed the mod through using an EMIP file. And if you're in the lucky situation that you get an EMIP file that's made for the Switch version, that's how you install it. And yeah, that's pretty much all. At this point, if I go to my Switch now and play the game, I'm going to have my mods installed. And it's almost the exact same process as on PC. The only thing we needed to do was, of course, to actually dump the game files. And from there, it was basically completely the same. It was the same. So if you're familiar with Among Us modding on PC, this is probably going to be pretty easy for you, assuming that you know actually how to mod your Switch as well. And yeah, that's about it. All right, so Here is some of the footage that I recorded for the Among Us mods that we just installed, which are the same. Okay, my Joy-Con wasn't connected. Which whichever method you use based on the methods that I showed you in the video, both of those will work, assuming that you have an EMIP file for it. So, loading into the game, and still loading. Yes, I understand your new privacy policy. Thanks, Innersloth. Okay, so I'm going to go to local, create game, and all right. Now, if I go to hats, I have my custom hats that I made for this, which are the same ones that are on my PC version of this mod. I might release the Switch version once I complete it, because I haven't completed it yet. But once I do complete it, I will have the Switch version of this mod available, I think. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm on the Switch, and the mods are working. And yeah, so that's about it. All you have to do after doing the process that we showed in the video, after putting those files in your SD card in the correct setup that we had in the video, just opening the game in custom firmware will yield this result. You'll immediately have all your mods installed, and it'll be just like the PC version. It's not that much harder. It's actually a very easy process, honestly. It's just annoying because it's not like the PC version where you can test stuff immediately. You actually have to go through all the effort of restarting your Switch every time you want to test something, which can get a little annoying. But besides that, it's mostly the same process. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching again.